On the platform now, just the other side of the camera here, collection of mixture waiting to be picked up. So milk, yes, which needs to be got to its destination fairly quickly, and parcels, which had a sort of priority express label attached to them.
That's right, you can see the little farmer coming across the field. No, the farmer and his wife are here. I think he's the...
those carriages, that rolling stock, they fitted together, and they were designed for using on branch lines or even suburban lines, and they worked as a pair. And all that happened at the other end was the engine ran round, fixed up to the... split it up, and two coaches got attached to local trains, and those were two coaches on their way back with holidaymakers going up to the the Midlands or even further north. Now then, a freight train. If I spotted it coming, I would have said to the youngsters, count it. How many trucks are there? Because it keeps changing. People come in and do things, and sometimes there's one number, and sometimes there's a few less, sometimes a few more. But this is a coal train, and it was made by a man called Tony Smith, who sadly died about 15 years ago, but he was a good friend of a lot of ours. That wagon is in this train, and he came away with a lump of coal. They gave him a lump of coal, and we suspect that not only does the Arthur Butler wagon have Arthur Butler coal in it, but probably a lot of the others have as well. Now, the train has just moved back a bit, at least the locomotive has moved back a bit. The far end of the train hasn't moved at all. This is a practice known as setting back. It was quite a useful one, because when you try to start a long train like this off, if all the couplings are tight, you start off with all the many hundreds of tons of weight, wagons and coal that there is there, and therefore it makes it a bit easier, although this locomotive is powerful enough to do it, if you can just close up the gap between the couplings so that the buffers are all tight, and that's where those of you who can remember the chunk 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 noises at night time in the goods yard, that's where that came from. It was people doing this sort of thing. And then you start off very slowly and move forward, getting just one wagon going at a time. And the important thing is you do it slowly until you know that the guard's van has also started slowly. The important thing about that is that if you don't, and the guard is a little off guard, you can end up, yes, there's Arthur Butler, yes, going past the signal box. The guard can suddenly find himself accelerating from 0 to 25 miles an hour with almost the impetus to get him into orbit, but more likely to break a leg or an arm or scald himself because he was pouring himself tea or coffee at the time. And there were some drivers who were quite notorious for being...
And the maroon ones are Great Western ones, I'll show you. That would be about 1925, and they're taking Midlands holidaymakers home after holidays in Ramsgate and Margate and places like that. So they're going to Nottingham or places like that.
Because even though it's quite small, it gives the impression of like great distances.
It is. It's just detail, isn't it?
Here, moth-proofed. So somebody suggested Glover's hemp. We tried it.
And underlined.
Yeah.
Oh
boy.
Yeah, we want to see that here now.
Used to use Chinese nuns.